Hi guys, welcome to another Chessbrah video. This is the recap for the quarterfinals of the Pro Chess League hosted on chess.com. We're going over the match between the Montreal Chessbrahs and the Buenos Aires Krakens, a team which had actually beaten us in the regular season, our only loss of the entire Pro Chess League so far. So this was a very important match, a revenge matchup for us. We brought a very big lineup to the table with using some substitutions. We had Grandmaster Fabiano Caruana and Li Chao substituting on board one as they've done in the past. Grandmaster Eric Hansen, as usual, playing all 4 games on board 2, and Grandmaster Alexander Lesiege and Raven Sturt alternating on board 3, and Michael Kleiman and Elias Ustik alternating on board 4. We came away with a victory 10-6, which was a very convincing margin considering they had beaten us earlier in the season. And we do advance to the semifinals, but it didn't feel like such an easy match when it was ongoing. So let's take a look at exactly how we ended up with that final score. So first of all, in round 1, things really started off quite hectic with Alexander Lesiege playing white here, who got into a King's Indian position, and you guys all know how crazy those positions can get. Black with a full-fledged kingside attack, and white on the other hand pressuring the queenside. So after the move knight b5 here, it's clear that with c takes d6 and c7 hanging, black has to go all in, and let me just say that this set the stage for what was a crazy game. Queen h5, h4. Now to some people this might even be theoretical how white dealt with the attack here. h4 with the idea that if g takes, that blocks the entire h-file for black's pieces. And now g4 with the idea that if you take en passant, which is forced of course, bishop takes, and now after knight f6, knight c7, if you ever take on h4, white's idea is to put the bishop on h2 and maybe hide the king on h1 or even run away with king f2. So without getting too much into it, this was a very crazy game, and later on in a time scramble, Lesiege did pull out the victory, but playing this position with white really does take some defensive skills, and Lesiege showing that he can play on both sides of the board here, and he did come away with a victory, an important victory just in the first round. Another game that happened very early on was Grandmaster Eric Hansen here with the black pieces, and we'll switch to his point of view as white just played the move knight a3, and Eric uses this move to take advantage and plays the move f5 with the idea f4. I think that white was planning to meet this with queen h5 with the idea of queen g6 and some counterplay, but a nice move, queen a6, takes advantage of white's last move, knight a3, as well as covering the kingside squares, and this meant that after knight c4, f4, white simply loses a piece here by force, especially with the knight being attacked by the queen on a6. So Eric comes away with the victory against Alain Pichot, Grandmaster playing board 3 for the Buenos Aires Krakens, and very early on in the match, this set us up for a big round 1 victory. Grandmaster Fabiano Caruana, who played the first 2 games of this match. Here is one of his games that he played against, as I just mentioned, Grandmaster Alain Pichot. Fabi's got the white pieces here, and after the move g5, it's clear that white's just going to crash through with the move g6. Black is forced to sacrifice a rook with rook takes a3, and after pawn takes, queen takes, just cold-blooded, Fabi takes the material and plays rook h2, and amazingly, the rook covering a2, the bishop covering a1, white's just going to play g6, and suddenly black is the one who's getting checkmated instead of white, despite what it looks like and despite black's sacrifice. So a few more moves were played, bishop a4, g6 crashing through, and black's trying his best to keep it closed. One last trick, rook c2, trying to set up some checkmate ideas, but Fabi plays rook takes g7, cold-blooded, and this does lead to a forced checkmate, which he did deliver. So Fabi went 2 for 2 on the week, which was a big score for him. He came in, handled business like a 2800 should. Moving on to the next rounds, where Eric Hansen, who scored 3.5 out of 4 on this week, a massive performance on board 2, that is surely higher than his expected score, so that really helped us come away with a victory. 3.5 undefeated, and here he is taking down board 1 for Buenos Aires. This is Grandmaster Sandro Mareco playing with the white pieces. Eric's playing black here, and after the calm move queen c2, Eric finds the nice shot knight to b4, and this must have simply been overlooked by Mareco, who was playing a little bit quickly and maybe didn't sense the danger. One thing he might have set up with queen c2 was if knight e3 with a very similar idea, then after pawn takes, bishop takes d3, maybe queen to f2 was planned. And now if you take the knight, we can see that white does get some compensation or some counterplay with queen f7, but sloppy nonetheless was queen c2, and knight b4 punishes with the same idea, except this time there's no open f-file. Black simply wins a pawn, and with one extra pawn and the momentum, Erik cleaned up this game within a matter of moves. So an upset game there. Erik Hansen defeats board 1 from Buenos Aires. That was a very big result for the team, and throughout this entire match, the Chessbrahs were leading after every round. Somebody who hasn't played that many games for the Chessbrahs, but does facilitate an important lineup, is Raven Sturt, national master from Canada. He has gone to school in Canada. Here he is with the white pieces, and I'll tell you, the last time he played, he had a moment where he hung his entire queen, and Black, his opponent in that game, capitalized on it, took the free queen, and he lost the game from a completely winning position. And in this game here, after the move rook e2, bishop f8, in a time scramble with rook e8 coming, it was clear that with bishop c3, queen e5 in the air, he's ready to close the game out. Black plays king to g7, and queen d4 check was on the board. I can't tell you how stressful this was from a point of view of the spectator, which is what I was during this match. Queen d4 was on the board, and Black played so quickly the move f6. Unbelievable, both players hanging their queens. White with the move queen d4. I think he said after the game he expected Black to play queen a6, not king g7, but nevertheless, that's not a mouse slip. That is a full queen hang that was not taken by Black here, the board 4 for Buenos Aires. And you can imagine this may have completely turned the tables on the entire match if Black had taken this free queen. White somehow gets lucky, takes Black's hanging queen, and comes away with the victory nonetheless. So very scary moment there for the Chessbrahs as he was trying to close out a victory. He gave up the entire point, but fortunately for us, luck was on our side. Black didn't take the queen, and Raven ended up winning the game anyway. But a very scary moment. Going into the last game, the Chessbrahs had a big lead in the match so far and only needed half a point. But Grandmaster Li Chao, who we brought in for the last 2 games of the match, had this position with White, and of course with us only needing a draw, Li Chao continues to play his ultra-aggressive, fast attacking style, plays the move b4 very confidently. After pawn takes, he whisks the knight into d6 very quickly, and now you can see this d4 pawn is coming under attack. There's not only a hanging rook on e8, but also the potential to play knight takes f5. The h-file could be used in some lines, or the diagonal for the bishop, so great attacking chances created out of nowhere from Li Chao. And after bishop takes, pawn takes, queen b6, I'll just show the combination here. After bishop e5, bishop d3, Black thought maybe he would create some counterplay with rook a3, but rook h4 by Li Chao. We only needed a draw, but he's clearly going for a brilliancy prize here with rook h4. Of course, the queen cannot be taken because of checkmate. And after Black plays f5, another finesse move, queen e3, intending just queen h3. And after knight f8, rook h8, king f7, queen h3, Black had no choice but to resign this position with his time ticking down. So Li Chao absolutely crushed Grandmaster Sandro Marocco in the last round. So the Chessbrahs did come away with the victory because of this game. There were some other results to report in the final round, but Li Chao secured the victory for the Chessbrahs with this game right here against the board 1. So Raven Sturt, Alexander Lesiege, Michael Kleinman all finished with 1 point out of 2. Elias Usidik, unfortunately, finished with 0 out of 2, but as usual during the many weeks, he's playing Grandmasters rated 300-400 points above him, so really having a tough time, as a lot of the board 4s are in the Pro Chess League with a lot of the rating mismatches. So Elias played 2 games, scored 0 out of 2, but against 2 of the strongest players from Buenos Aires. Erik Hansen, as I mentioned, 3.5 out of 4, really helped carry the team to victory, as well as Li Chao with 1.5 out of 2, and Fabi with 2 out of 2. So boards 1 and 2 really scoring big for the Chessbrahs this week. 10-6 was the final score, and that means the Chessbrahs advance onto the semifinals. That will be played on March 25th, and the finals on March 26th. So that's championship weekend. Mark your calendars, make sure you're there. The time is still to be determined, so I can't report anything on that yet. But the Montreal Chessbrahs will be playing the St. Louis Archbishops. That's Wesley So's team from St. Louis. And the other semifinal is Norway Gnomes, Magnus Carlsen, and the Stockholm Snowballs, who have just recruited Baro Jobava to play as their board one. So some very stacked lineups. Obviously, we're looking to win our match and head to the finals, but we hope you'll come cheer us on Championship Weekend, March 25th and 26th. Should be a very big match. As usual, International Master Miodrag Prunovic will be giving the commentary, play-by-play. The stream has been getting more and more popular every time because the matches are simply getting more and more intense as the playoffs go on. So thanks everybody for supporting us so far. We've definitely done very well in the league, but we're not looking to call it a day just yet. We're playing the St. Louis Archbishops on March 25th, so I hope you come cheer us on. Until then, we'll see you next time.